Hello and welcome to the Turf and Touchdowns podcast, episode number 21, focusing on the horse racing action over in the US this weekend. We'll look back at the Arlington Million in just a moment, and we'll look forward to the Alabama Stakes, Grade 1 action at Saratoga. But as always, my name is Luke Elderin. Next to me is my jet-setting friend, Tom Collins.
Yeah, I like that one. We're back from Denmark after a few days up in Copenhagen. Very good few days as well. The weather was nice, which we can't really say for the weather currently in the US. Obviously, last week was a shambles across the whole country, Saratoga, Colonial, etc. We'll talk about the Arlington Million, as you say, in a sec. But this week, it looks a little bit better. Obviously, Saratoga yesterday, we are recording this on Friday morning. Saratoga yesterday did have a downpour, but the weekend looks good. So fingers crossed we get a dry Saturday.
You realise Copenhagen's in the Netherlands, right?
Well, it's absolutely not.
I was just seeing if you go along with that.
Mate, my geography knowledge is top tier. Top tier.
What's the capital of Russia?
Well, it's Moscow.
What's the capital of Ukraine?
Kiev. What is this?
Bad that my mind went towards those two countries immediately.
Yeah, back to racing.
What's the capital of Canada?
Ottawa.
Oh, good. Fair play.
Thank you.
Brazil.
Brasilia.
Fair play. You know what? You've said your geography's good, and you backed it up with some hard ones there. Hard ones. Australia.
Canberra.
I'm out. I'm done. 5 out of 5 is too good. Is good enough for me. That's fair enough. How was Copenhagen? Yeah,
it was good, mate. I didn't end up watching any of the racing. I had a few days off, which is unlike me, to be honest. It seems to be day in, day out that I watch racing, whether it's UK, US, Saudi, wherever I am. But yeah, it was nice to have a little break. But I am looking forward to getting stuck back in because Saratoga is still going on, of course. I feel a bit lost without it.
Aw.
Yeah.
Does Lou know that?
No, don't tell her.
Well, Lou didn't actually know that she was going to Copenhagen, so I'm glad you guys had fantastic fun. We will start by looking back with the Arlington Million. Interesting race. It was a tricky race on paper beforehand, but things went rather well for Team Godolphin. We had a runaway front runner in the form of Segoy, who, I'll be honest, at one point I didn't really think was going a million miles an hour in front. He slowed things up, and I thought, you know what, this horse might have just stolen this on the front. But look, William Buick never panicked, and it was all fairly plain sailing in the end.
Yeah, it was an easy victory for Nation's Pride. I didn't end up actually watching the race live because of the huge delay at Colonial on Sunday, and obviously I was flying on early Monday morning, so I kind of, for the first time ever, didn't watch a race that we've covered live. I had to watch it in the morning as we were queuing up at the airport. And I only actually saw from halfway onwards, so I couldn't tell you what happened in the early part of the race. But it was an easy success in the end. Good ride from William Buick. Nice $1 million prize check, or the best part anyway. 55%, I think it is, to the winner. I thought a couple of others ran okay in behind, Talk of the Nation specifically. But it was a bit of a one-horse race in the end.
Yeah, I obviously put up Ancient Rome, who ran well enough. I thought he was booked for second at one point. He got a bit tired late on. Whether that's a case of his first run back out in America, probably it's more that he wants a mile. He'll go to Kentucky Downs next, and he'll probably win there as well, in total honesty. That was the race that he managed to win last year. One thing you wouldn't have seen, because you didn't watch the race live, the course commentator, I'm convinced, hates Ancient Rome.
Why so?
Like the whole build, so the 5-minute build up towards the race is, Ancient Rome is really misbehaving. He's really sweaty. He's really doing this. He's really doing that. And it's like, and he said nothing negative about any of the other horses. Comes out the stores like, Ancient Rome is really slow away. It's like, yeah, I know he wants to be slow away. Like he said nothing nice about Ancient Rome the whole time.
Absolute place lay, definite place lay there.
Literally, I've bet the field against you. It's like, Ancient Rome, you smell. It's like, what's your problem with Ancient Rome? But he ran well. He'll go on to, as I say, bigger and, well, I would say bigger and better, but it's not really.
No, he'll probably go on to smaller and slightly worse things, but he's got a good chance of winning then.
It's a rarely trodden path, the smaller and less things. But yeah, Ancient Rome's going to do that effectively. But that will be at Kentucky Downs in the very near future. The Grade 1 Alabama Stakes is coming up, though. That's this weekend. As Tom said, we did have rain last night at Saratoga. It was very late on in the card. They took the final two races off the turf. The dirt track was very wet, but as we know, Saratoga deals with rain very well because they have rain almost every single day. Just saying, a dome race course.
Oh, don't you start.
If you
I'm
get,
not I'm not entertaining this conversation once more. There is no way this is even possible. A dome racecourse. You want a dome over a racecourse? Not going to happen, mate.
think of the amount of rich people we have in racing, right? If they all just chipped in like $1 million here, $1 million there.
When we go back and see the retention on this video, we will see it completely drops off about here before we even start talking about the race this week.
I just say, put a dome over Saratoga. Wow. You've got a Breeders' Cup at Saratoga before you know it. We've got the Alabama Stakes at Saratoga. Honestly, the race is a little bit... it's fine. For a Grade 1, it's okay. From a pace perspective, I'd imagine Frankie's probably going to go forward on board Chatelas. You've got one or two others that will likely try and do that, but I don't think the pace angles are the win candidates in here.
No, I mean, this is a 1 mile, 2 furlong dirt race at Saratoga for the 3-year-old fillies. Everything I just said there kind of encapsulates the likely pace scenario, which is slow. All these fillies are unproven. Well, the majority are unproven at the trip. So they're not going to go super hard. I mean, why would you do that? It would kind of compromise most of the horses' chances of winning. I do think Dettori will send Chatelas forward. She made every yard in the Indiana Oaks last time up. She does have trip concerns. Miss Justify is another who could go forward, but she doesn't really mind being off the speed. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think they're probably going to crawl early on, and I don't really like those who are going to be up front anyway.
No, I'm completely with you. Chatelas was gutsy last time around, for sure, and showed a really good attitude, but it's going to have to be a lot better to be winning in this spot. A horse we do know a lot about, though, is the likely market leader, is 7-5 on the morning line with Manny Franco in the saddle. Look, Candied went to the Breeders' Cup last year, ran behind just FYI. I don't think things really went perfectly for Candied on that occasion. And to be fair, this year hasn't really done a great deal wrong. Came back at Keeneland, ran okay, won over at Monmouth, and then last time round bumped into a horse who could be a Breeders' Cup Classic contender in Torpedo Anna.
Yeah, this is the horse to beat, obviously, Candied. She's the filly with all the Grade 1 form. She won the Alcibiades on just her second outing as a 2-year-old. That kind of showed her level early on in her career. Subsequently finished third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, fourth in the Ashland, and then last time second in the CCA Oaks. Any of those runs puts her in here as the most logical winner. And considering Todd Pletcher has a great record in the Alabama, she's hard to overlook. However, I have no issue with her being favourite, and I have no issue with anyone thinking that she's the most likely winner. No problem with that whatsoever. But she's 7-5 on the morning line. I don't think she's going to be any bigger than 11-10 opening show here, and that'll probably go into odds on come the off, and I just don't want much of a part of that. She's very talented, but she does have a slight issue with lugging in left and also changing leads, and just at a short enough price, I think I'll look elsewhere. But look, Candied is definitely the horse to beat.
Yeah, absolutely. On what we've seen so far, the most talented horse in the race, but she's also had quite a few chances to prove that. But she's 7-5 on the morning line, as we mentioned. We've got Power Squeeze in here, who I think the trip's going to suit absolutely perfectly. Look, this is a horse who is probably top of the list of slow in this contest. It's generally a horse who comes from the rear of the field, managed to win quite nicely last time round in the Delaware Oaks, but before that, she was thought of as a horse that could go okay sort of in Kentucky Oaks at the top level. And I think her running style just puts her up against it in races like that. I think it might be the same in this spot, that she could stay on. I see her finishing third, but I don't see her winning.
You're stealing my notes.
Every week, right? Someone go, "You're stealing my notes."
I've literally got notes written down here on my laptop as I'm talking, and I'll tell you what, I'll literally read out what it says. It said, another talented filly seems to be on a sharp upward curve in terms of performance. She put her name in lights when she beat Ways and Means, but Ways and Means wasn't at her best that day. Since then, she ran twice behind Torpedo Anna in Grade 1s before winning the Delaware Oaks. of which you said. The trip shouldn't be an issue for her. You said that. And she's obviously pretty good. You said that. I think she'll run top 3, but I'm more inclined to say that she'll finish 3rd than 1st. You said that. So I can't really add much here.
I would like to say, me and Tom, we have this sort of unwritten rule where we literally don't share notes and we don't share who we like. Be it NFL videos, we don't. Horse racing videos, we absolutely don't. Before we recorded, I guessed what Tom's selection was because he's that predictable. This was like, you're going for that. I was like, yeah, all right, fair enough. That was a look at Power Squeeze, I guess. Will likely be fairly prominent in the market. Miss Justify will be exactly the same. I thought was good last time around. We'll need a ton more to win this, but that's not beyond the realms of impossibility.
Yeah, she's likely raced the 2nd string for Todd Pletcher in here behind Candied. Flavian Pratt, who always rides Miss Justify, is back on. So, albeit the jockey bookings may not clearly say 2nd string, she definitely is. I actually tipped her last time at Saratoga when she won. She was a fair enough price that day, but it was a much weaker field than this. And to be honest, she wasn't as impressive as I hoped she would be. At the same time as that, she did burrow her way up the inside and made a big run against the fence and came through late to win. And that's not easy to do at Saratoga. So I suppose you can mark her up. But we just don't know, 1, whether she's got the class, or 2, whether she's definitely going to stay the distance. And I think with those concerns in a field like this, you kind of have to look elsewhere.
Yeah, I think should stay. The way that she kept on going last time around, it does lend you to think that this trip will be absolutely fine for her. But it's also that mixed in with the real jumping class as well that, I don't know, I'm not sold on Miss Justify in this spot. One horse that we haven't spoke about so far is Intricut, who has got form that ties in with Candied from last time around, obviously behind Torpedo Anna. But Intricut is a horse who's got a real claim for fame because she's beaten Torpedo Anna, whereas, I mean, not many can say that.
No, and actually coming into this year, I liked Intricate to be one of the best 3-year-old fillies around in the US, and it's not happened. And I don't know whether it's just my lack of loyalty in general when it comes to betting, or whether I'm now realizing that she's just not as good as I thought she was. But I just kind of want no part of her going forward. I feel like she's massively leveled off in terms of her form. She seems to have peaked very soon in a 2-year-old campaign and not really matched it, not really progressed, ever since. She's kind of running at that level. If not maybe a little bit below. I don't like her, to be honest. If she wins, she wins, but she's not for me.
Yeah, she's a horse that can put up a big performance, but she's not done that wow performance. It's just not been there from her, and I don't know if it is there, to be honest, anymore. Regards to Intricate, Just Basking very much falls under the "you could be absolutely anything" category. Look, ran in the Iowa Oaks last time around. A race that, I mean, it would rarely throw up a horse that'd be good enough to run in a race like this, even win a contest like this. But the manner that Just Basking did it, you had to quite like it. She's by Arrogant. She's out of a blame mare. So, look, she's bred to be pretty good, but this is a huge test for her.
Yeah, it is a big step up, but at the same time, we've got more ticks in the boxes for Just Basking than the majority of these horses, maybe Candied aside. We know that she's very talented. She finished second behind Sidamara in a maiden at Keeneland, a really good maiden that's worked out nicely. Sidamara's gone on to kind of portray herself in graded stakes, so we know that that's decent form. She then went and won a Churchill Downs maiden, crucially, over this 1 mile 2 furlong trip. So she ticks the trip box, which many of these, if not all of them, don't tick. So I think that's a clear positive for Just Basking. Last time up, okay, Prairie Meadows, you don't really expect to see a horse win there and then come and win a grade 1 at Saratoga. But at the same time, I thought she did it really well. It was one of Prairie's biggest races. So it wasn't just like an allowance race there. It was a proper graded stakes. And I think she's progressing. And what's more, she's a big price on the morning line, but also she represents Ian Wilkes and Chris Landeros. Now, I personally love Ian Wilkes, but I think most of his horses are generally under bet. And when Chris Landeros is on, you'll look elsewhere generally in terms of better riders. So I think the market's going to leave Just Basking a touch. Maybe you'll see that 5-1 morning line turn into the actual price, maybe 6, maybe 7-1. And if so, I'd be very keen on her.
There was a Freudian slip there from Tom, because we just had to re-record a segment of this because my dog barked at the door because there was someone there, and he almost called this horse Just Barking.
That is very true.
I mean, maybe that could be a name if Just Basking turns into an absolute rogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
The door's open for that, ironically. Let's move on to selections because that's a natural progression from you. Tom, who is your selection that I managed to guess?
Yeah, Just Basking is my selection. I love the trip factor for this horse. She's going to be off the speed, which shouldn't be a bad thing if Chattelas and Miss Justify go some kind of reasonable gallop. She'll definitely stay. She's proven that she's improving at this moment of time. And I don't think she has that much to find with any other horse bar Candied, who does deserve to be favourite, but I think would just be a little bit too short.
Yeah, I'm with Candied. I just think she's the best horse in this race. Obviously, last time around, she had absolutely no chance taking on Torpedo Anno, a horse who possibly could win the Travers, possibly could even win the Breeders' Cup Classic later on in the year. Was a very good 2-year-old last year. Look, they haven't happened for her in a career that we were maybe anticipating, but this is a much easier race. I know it's a Grade 1, but I don't think it's a really up-to-scratch renewal of the Alabama. If she runs to anywhere near her form from, say, 2 starts ago over at Monmouth, when she ran to a speed figure of 99, she'll win this. I don't see her being too far off the pace. I'm not saying she'll be tracking it, but sort of midfield. And hopefully Manny Franco just ride to like the best horse in the race and she can go away and score. So Candied it is for me. Just Basking it is for Tom Collins, who is very much an up-and-comer in this spot. I've also, Tom, got one fancy over at Del Mar.
Go on.
When going through things. Tom, before the podcast started, I did say to Tom, "I've got this one at Del Mar." So I did at least tell him this. And he goes, "Is it good racing at Del Mar?" I went, "No, it's not. there is a Grade 1. It's the Del Mar Oaks, but Grade 1s in California always suck anyway. They're generally uncompetitive. But in the 6th race, which is 7:30 there, so that's
12:30. Oh no, 2:30. Oh.
Yeah, Del Mar. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, guys. Just go to sleep, wake up, and hope you have a winner. It's the best way. I think Fleet Feet is 7-2 on the morning line. I don't think that will be the case. I'm fairly sure this horse might go off favourite, but Umberto Rispoli takes the ride. That's the rider who managed to beat Fleet Feet last time around. Abel Cedillo was on board Fleet Feet himself, but Umberto Rispoli was on Tiger Hon, who managed to come out on top. I don't think Fleet Feet really cornered too well, but it was a drop back down to 5 furlongs. I think that's going to help. It was the first time in a little while as well that this horse has run a really solid race. Missed the break ever so slightly, which again wouldn't help, but I do like sprinters on their second start back. It sort of over sprinting trips or minimum trips once they do drop, just because they have to relearn how to sprint effectively. Fleet Feet, I don't think it's a great race. If Fleet Feet is anywhere near 7-2, I'm happily going in with that. Race 6 over it at Del Mar. Just an extra selection on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. But Tom, well, I say you. Nobody will be seeing any of us on Saturday because we've both got I say Saturday off. We're elsewhere, but not on Sky.
Yeah, to be fair, I actually do have a Saturday off, like full Saturday off. So
What's that?
I can't remember the last time it happened. I think it might have been around 4 months ago. So I'm looking forward to it. Bit of football on this week, obviously a lot of racing, UK and US. So yeah, I'll be sat at home, feet up, watching whilst you'll be working.
Yeah, what Tom's saying is that he's going to run all our social accounts on Saturday.
Probably. I will probably end up posting a fair few. Go follow us on our socials, especially Twitter, because that's where I'm, at my best.
Is it though?
I think so, from a social perspective. Definitely not TikTok.
Well, you're useless on the rest. But at Turf Touchdowns on Twitter, on every other social media platform, we are at Turf and Touchdowns. That's us done for the day, though, on this podcast. Best of luck, whoever you are taking in the Alabama Stakes. Leave a comment down below who you're with this week. Any other plays you may have on Saturday as well. We'll be back in about a week's time, where we are gearing up for the NFL season. Pre-season is well underway. We'll be back with an NFL podcast next week, and we'll be back with a preview of the Travers. I will be in different surroundings this time next week. I'll be on holiday, but
you will. But you're going to be here. You're here for the podcast, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. Laptop, and be careful carrying it. Microphone. will 100% be coming with me, and I will be spending time in the air-conditioned room on holiday talking to my best friend about sports. That's us for the week on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. Until we see you guys next week, have a very good week. Stay safe. Look after one another. Safe flight, Luke Elder, and goodbye.